We're so back, baby. It's been a while since I've checked in last. So I think the last thing, I don't even remember where I left off because I've drawn a bit more, but I haven't really recorded anything. So I think we did bears. I think we left off at bears. And I did a lot of bears, and I did some polar bears, who I also love. Although it was fucked up because I got used to the shape of like brown bears, grizzly bears. The polar bears were very confusing because they have such flat, elongated faces. I was not good at them. And they have so much fur, you barely see any, like, any structure beneath, like, the skeleton. Undetectable. You cannot see it. Anyway, so I did some baby bears as well. And then I got brave and I was like, okay, you know what? You did a lot of bears. We can do some birds. So I did one page of birds. Did pigeons. Made it to a second page of pigeons, and I was like, I'm bad at this, man. I'm so bad. People who are good at drawing like the feather arrangement on wings, I don't know how they do it. I'm really, really bad at this. Maybe I shouldn't point this out. Maybe I should just leave it like a mystery. Some people might think it's good. So I did this, and then I did one last page. You can already see my energy was going down. There's a lot of white space here, but that's okay because I am thinking of going back and using some watercolor to mark out like my favorite drawings and add some more like stuff to the pages. But because like I do like the black and white look, and I'm not gonna put any watercolor on the drawings, just around them. But we'll see, because I don't think I want to do gray around them. I'm also still debating whether I want to scan them in before I do that and maybe ruin them, but we'll see. And then I was so done with the birds because they were too hard. I was like, you know what? As a palette cleanser, we're gonna do some foxes. So I did one pair of foxes. This guy got cut off at the knees. I'm very sorry about that. He didn't deserve that. And then between like this and this, like a week passed where I did not draw in the sketchbook at all. So that was a real success moment. So I was like, okay, let's try birds again. So I did a puffin, and at first I only had the line work, and then I was like, okay, this does not look accurate at all without any dark spot. Like you do, it is crazy how much the patterning of animals contributes to their look. It's crazy. So I did that, and I broke some of my goals of like not using diluted ink to, put patterns on stuff. So I did that a little bit. Felt much better about the puffin. Then I fucked up this guy and had to fix him. I tried another pigeon. I don't even know if I drew this one before. I already forgot again what was on the other pages. So I did birds, and I was like, you know what? I'm having a bad time. So let's change tracks. Let's do flowers. And this went kind of okay. I really like this one. But what I really notice, I especially like this one here. This one's not as good, but this one I also really like. Is that I have been very focused, especially with flowers, on like drawing all the lines, and I think I need to focus more on like reducing the amount of lines, like, and using white spaces and like a delicate to use the white spaces to show like where some things are delicate or like just imply a shape without having to draw it out, because I feel like it looks nicer if it's not all drawn out. Like, especially for this one, right? There are barely white spaces in these lines, and it looks very heavy, which I don't really love. Whereas for this one, there's like a lot of white space, and I really like this one. This one's fine too. I didn't go as heavy on the shadows in this one as this, because I did this one first, and then I was like, okay, we need to we need to change something. And I do really like this one as well. And then I did a little doodle. So we're here on a new blank page, and I think I will be continuing with flowers for a little bit. I'll see how many I can find that I like the look of, and then we'll see where we get. I think there's still over over half of the sketchbook left, so there's a lot of work still to do. As promised, I ended up doing more flowers. A lot more, in fact, much more than I expected to when I filmed the intro part. All of the flowers I'm drawing here are actually from that self-same day. I really just spend the majority of my day just drawing these, which goes a long way to explain why they are such dramatic lows in between the highs. Anytime my attention wandered off, the drawing quality just suffered immediately. Ultimately, there are a number of pages in this sketchbook that I don't really like. Most of them didn't get recorded because those are from days I wasn't feeling super great to begin with. And for those that did record it, I mostly just didn't include that footage, but this unloved page made it into the video nonetheless. Just for transparency, you know, I don't want you to think that all the pages went off without a hitch. Far from that. I went into it thinking, wow, how hard could it possibly be to draw a few more lotus flowers? And while it was in fact pretty hard and it didn't really work out well, but that is just kind of part of the process. Funnily enough, this one of my least favorite pages in the whole thing, is followed up directly by one of my actual favorite pages of the sketchbook. I am so glad I recorded this one, because it just is so satisfying to watch it come together from start to finish. This is basically unedited except for being sped up. I was debating with myself whether I'd keep this in real time just because I love it so much, but ultimately no one else is that attached to this one drawing, and there is so much other footage I'd like to get to in this video that I just couldn't justify it. Look at the runtime! Half an hour of real-time footage would be insane to add onto this. In general, it was a struggle to pick and choose what footage to include and how to edit it for this video, because there was just so much of it. We're covering about 3/4 of the book here. I only recorded a fraction of the actual pages anyway, maybe a fourth, maybe less, but that still gave me hours of footage. For reference, each of the 2-page spreads took me about half an hour, give or take, and the sketchbook has 80 of these. So you can do the math yourself, but safe to say it's a lot, and it's a lot more than the 1 hour this video is already running for. Alas, I promised in the last video that I wouldn't drag this out and just make one more process video on this particular sketchbook, so here we are. I will have to make a separate video where I flip through the whole thing slowly and talk a bit more how I feel about the finished thing, like as a whole. It has to be a separate video because there's no more room in this one. Again, imagine if I just put another 30 minutes at the end of this. No one wants this. Not me either. Yeah, on the topic of footage, since we're already talking about this here, there are some real wacky and strange camera angles in this one. I apologize for this. I didn't notice while I was recording that some of these are just like fucking weird. I was trying to experiment a bit more to find an angle where I could work without having the camera in my face. You could get a nice view of what's going on, and ideally, in the end, my head would not obscure the video every time I leaned in a little closer to get some details in. But at the time, I just didn't check how it turned out, and these are not exactly things I can just re-record, right? So, it is what it is. It's all a learning curve, so hopefully in the future I will do better, but for now, it's just like this. Anyway, back to the flowers.
I've had some struggles with them, as I mentioned earlier. It's really hard to get their fragility and softness down with just black ink and a brush. However, compared to animals, there is a bit more freedom to drawing flowers and foliage, in that even if you mess up the shapes a bit, get some stuff wrong, it never looks even remotely as wrong as when you slightly misplace a body part on an animal. So, despite all my failures and struggles, this was still kind of a chill experience. And after that one spread turned out so well, I was on a productivity high, and I just kept doing more and more flower pages. The first spread afterwards still went really well, but the one after that ended up being so bad that I omitted most of the footage. The autofocus was also having a moment there, presumably because it could tell things were just going badly. So not only was the footage not fun to watch because the drawing didn't come out well, it was also kind of nausea-inducing to look at. So yeah, cutting that part out was a real easy decision.
Hello again. It's been a while. I will admit I have no idea when I checked in the last time, so this is gonna be fun. I think we were probably doing flowers. Maybe I think I talked about the puffin, so I think afterwards we did flowers. Um, which a lot of them turned out really bad, but that's okay. That happens. Sometimes some pages. This is like one of my least favorite pages. Well, this is probably my favorite page. This was really fun to do. I had a really good time, and it turned out well, which helps a lot. Yeah, I think we did flowers. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time in these. And then I got tired of flowers. I was like, dude, I can't do it anymore. Let's do something else. So then I did some foxes because they're very cute. I love foxes. Very, very adorable animal. Scrungle. And yeah, I did some foxes. Did a lot of foxes. I forgot. I love going back here because I'm like, I don't remember any of this. So I did a lot of foxes. And then I was like, you know what? Gonna get my courage together. Gonna do some birds again. And ended up choosing a bird that's kind of easier. So I did some ducks. So I did these. And then there was, I think, a little break in between here, and when I came back, these are done. I did most of the previous stuff with the same brush. And for this one, I took a slightly bigger brush. I was like, you know what? It's gotten really stiff. Let's try something bigger. Maybe it'll bring some energy back. Also hilarious. This guy did not fit on the page hole. This guy also did. I think I underestimate how long ducks are. It's like, well, no, it's gonna fit, and then it doesn't. Incredible. So, yeah, these are from yesterday. I was I was a little too hectic, so I accidentally got some ink everywhere. Same with this guy. This guy was also bad, so I was like, you know what? I better fix it up. And so I tried again, and I like this one much better. It's still not ideal, obviously, but like better than the other one. And then I got tired of ducks. I was like, you know what? That's enough for now. Now I'm doing cats again. I was doing tigers after that. I love tigers. They're so cute. They are so cute. Second best cat. My favorite cat, of course, are snow leopards, which I am debating on whether I should do them right after tigers, because tigers are very cute. They're very cute, but also I'm kind of tired of the stripes. I don't know. It's just like, okay, yeah. I've learned. It's crazy how much stripes define a tiger. Okay, like when I first drew them out, I was like, oh, okay, this looks kind of like a big cat, I guess. And then you add the stripes, and you're like, oh yeah, that's a tiger for sure. But yeah, that's as far as we got so far. We got past the halfway point at some point, which I'm excited about because that means this project might actually end at some point ever. So that's good. So yeah, I'm gonna do some soul searching because I'm like, do I want to do more tigers? I don't know.
As you can tell, I decided to stick with tigers for just a little bit longer. Drawing them was a really interesting experience because the stripes really do so much work here. I already mentioned how they make the tiger look like a proper tiger, but what I forgot earlier is that the stripes are doing a lot to help with perspective and volume as well. What I mean by that is that the human brain intuitively understands lines pretty well, so having them overlaid over any form makes that form more easily understandable to the viewer. It reads as more 3D. And in case of the tigers, it meant that even when I was drawing them laying down at an angle that required foreshortening, the stripes helped make it look less weird. The downside was that the stripes added more time to the drawing process, which made the tiger pages take way longer than the ones I was doing right before them. So I could do way less in one day, but that is a trade-off that was absolutely worth it, I would say. I still love these pages now, And I'm so glad I jumped over my own shadow and didn't avoid tigers for the fear of, not being good enough, of them looking weird. I love tigers, man. I talked about this in the last video too, but it really pays off to see your sketchbook and the drawings in it as practice instead of performance, and to give yourself permission to mess up as much as you want. Even here it was okay when the drawings looked ugly. I always had the option to fix it with a post-it if, it was too upsetting for me to look at. I was like, no, I can't have this. We need to fix it. And, I was using them quite a bit too. I feel like towards the second half there are a lot more than in the beginning, and that's, fine. And really, if I didn't have that option, there are a lot of things I wouldn't have dared to draw at all, including the snow leopards we'll see later on, but also, as I said, the lying tigers. And another thing I wouldn't have tried to draw without my trusty post-it notes were tiger interactions. I was getting bored of solitary tigers, and I somehow ended up in a corner of Pinterest that was filled with cuddling tigers. So really, I had no choice at all. And let me tell you, that was so hard. And the drawings didn't come out quite the way I would have wanted. But, I got to look at extremely cute pictures while doing it, so kind of evens out. You have to try and fail. That's kind of the motto of this, trying but failing, but still having a good time. But yeah, you can also see that I'm starting to break my own rules a little bit here and there, where I'm using ink washes to add some shading and dimension to the tigers. I just couldn't resist anymore, even though I said I wouldn't use them. I don't regret putting them in there. I think they really add to the drawings, and it actually made me low-key regret that I didn't include ink washes from the beginning, so to have them on all the drawings, because I really like the look of them. But on the other hand, I think if I started the project expecting myself to use them on every drawing, I don't know if I would have gotten far. In the best case scenario, I would have lengthened the time it took for me to fill the whole sketchbook significantly, and in the worst case, I would have just given up early, because it's just way too much work, and, it raised my own expectations to a degree where I was just too intimidated to finish it. So ultimately, it was probably better that I didn't include ink washes from the beginning and that I said I mostly don't want to use them, but I'm also not mad that I threw that rule out the window for these. Sometimes, you gotta know when to break your own rules and when to stick to them.
Okay, so so we've done some more tigers, which was very fun. I love tigers. But while doing them and thinking about what I wanted to do next, I realized that I've mostly been doing mammals. I mean, I've also done some flowers, but otherwise I've just been doing mammals and the occasional bird, like two. So in the interests of diversity, which I'm very for, I've decided to now do some bugs. We'll see how that turns out. I am curious. If it goes too badly, I'll just do one page and then stop. It's fine. So yeah, gonna try to do bugs now, so wish me luck on that. Okay, we're back. I think the last thing that was recorded was somewhere. We were doing tigers. Tigers were going great. I love tigers. And then I was like, you know what? Let's try bugs. And unfortunately, right when I started recording this, which I didn't notice, obviously, at the time, because I was busy drawing bugs, is that my storage was full, so the recording stopped pretty quickly. I think it got like to this guy. Anyway, I did some very round guys. I don't love any of these. I think this one's the least offensive, which is unfortunate because he's in the middle of the page and he's gotten bisected. So I was like, you know what? Maybe you know, those guys are not for me. Let's try a fuzzy bug. So I did some bees because they're very cute as well. I'm not very happy with the bees either. Bugs were not my thing. So I was like, okay, let's change track again. Bees aren't working either. Let's look at moths. And I really liked my first moth. Then I went off the rails. Don't love those. But then I returned with some more success. I do like this moth page a lot more. So that's all I did. And now I'm back to wondering what I'll do. Now, in other good news, I noticed, because I love counting, I kept going back to count how many pages are left. And there's only 20 more pages left, which means we're 3/4 through the whole thing. I think the thing has 80 pages, if I remember correctly. It doesn't say inside the book, it just said on the... But yeah, I think these art creation ones have 80 pages, which is great. Because that means we're 3/4 through, only 20 pages left. So the end is in sight. And something else where the end is in sight is unfortunately my ink. Last time I checked, which was earlier today, so it shouldn't have changed. You can't. I'm not even going to try to catch this on camera. This thing is very empty. Like, if I hold it very evenly, then you can still see it cover the entire floor, but the moment you start tilting it slightly, you can see the bottom of the little case. So this guy's almost done, which is great. It's also unfortunate because I don't think this is going to last for 20 more pages, which leaves me at kind of an impasse because, as I've mentioned before, this guy has survived where my other black inks haven't. They, unfortunately, got entirely too hard. They're blocks now that you can't really work with. So the question is, what am I doing? This is the wrong one. The question then comes up, okay, what do I do, right? Because, of course, because I'm a hoarder, like many people who make art. I have other inks, so the first obvious contender, I suppose, is a black acrylic ink. I have, which I don't remember where I put this right now. Oh, there it is. Well prepared, as always. So I have this one, which originally I got for a different project. This is like really nice. I've used it before. I really like it for painting with, but I'm not really willing to use this because as much as ink sucks for brushes, these are, I think, the 3 I've used so far, and as much as that is not good for them, acrylic ink, and acrylics are even worse because they dry very quickly and then you really cannot get them out, while a lot of ink you can still kind of get out if you use a little alcohol or just like a lot of soap, especially with like the cheap inks for students. So that's not great for my brushes, but it is, you know, you don't kill them. But if I use this on these, I think after that they'd be not useful for much else, which is unfortunate. So this is like the last resort. Then another thing I found, because of course I have a lot of ink, is this bad boy, which is probably what I'll end up using. I don't know if it will focus on this. I can't look at my camera while I'm recording. So this is another ink I've had for a long time, but this is not a black ink, it's a sepia ink, which in its defense is still very dark if you don't dilute it. Like, you really, really see the sepia tone instead of the black when you start diluting it. I used it in a previous Inktober project, I think, mixed with black inks. Like, I just switched between. So I got this because I was like, maybe sometimes I don't want black lines for something, and I'd rather have something brownish, like something a little bit warmer. And like this one, there's so much soul in here, man. This is come on. Yeah, this is like, okay, why am I doing this? You can't see this. This is still pretty full, so I could easily use this, and I probably will, just because it's the best solution, because besides all my black inks who died, I do have some survivors, which I thought about but then pretty easily dismissed, which are these boys. These are Winsor & Newton inks. These are colored. We have all blue, which is literally just called blue. We have a red that's called vermilion, and we have the apple green. Now these bitches, it's crazy to me. These ones I've also had for a long time. I don't quite remember when I bought them exactly. I could check in my old sketchbooks where they started appearing, which I might. I mean, I'm looking through them right now anyway for my big art review, which I've talked about in another video, which is not the topic here, so I'm not going to get into it. But I could find out, but I'm entirely sure this was probably 12 to 15 years ago. Probably closer to 15 than 12. And these are still full. I mean, this one I think I got later, because originally I got 4 inks. I think originally I got 3, and then I got the green pretty soon after, and then a little while after I got the red. Because originally I got this blue, I got a yellow, I got a cool red, and then I got this green. Now, these bitches have the blue has done incredibly well over the years. Now, I've been thinking, like, if sepia would be a change to black, then this would be way more. And for a while I was like, well, maybe I'll just do colorful, but they're very bright. You don't really get darks with these. So that's probably out of the question. And then I was like, well, maybe I could mix them and get a black out of it. And that I also discarded because I was like, no, that's stupid and too much work, and you will hate it. So I'm not doing that. But I just thought I would bring them up again because some of these have lasted. The blue has lasted surprisingly long. The yellow evaporated pretty quickly, like inside of 2 or 3 years of using it the first time. And the vermilion also went rather soon-ish, but I also think it lasted quite a bit still. But yeah, these bitches are still around. They're still usable. I don't know if I'll ever use them, but I have them. But yeah. I also, for a time, played with the thought, because I forgot I had the sepia ink, if I wanted to go in and get black watercolor instead. I have old watercolors that I don't really use anymore. I have a White Knight set, which I have several blacks for because I wanted to test several different blacks. And I could use those, but that I also was like, no, watercolor is very different, and it'd be just as annoying as trying to mix a black with these. So yeah. Sorry, this took longer than I thought it would. Anyway, this is probably going to be the successor. This one is too nice and would also kill my beautiful watercolor brush, which I'm also already torturing with ink, but we don't want to kill him just now. I do like him quite a bit. So this is also out of the rank. So we're gonna eventually see sepia eventually. I'll probably check back in when this guy's empty because I'm so excited to finally finish this out. This, again, Unknown age. Who knows? It's still working though. So happy to get back to it and finally finish off this little guy.
As you can see, I continued on with another round of animals that are not mammals. This time it's good old snails. I chose them mostly because I have friends who really love them and even have their own little pet snails. That is not to say that I don't also like snails myself. I do, they're kind of cute in their own snaily way. And I also think they're just fun to draw, especially the shell is pretty fun on account of all the clean, lines on there. And all those clean lines actually make those some of my favorite bits of footage as well. It's why I kept most of the footage of the first few snails without any major cuts and editing. Obviously, they were sped up a bit. Can't have real-time footage, that takes forever. But I think it gives you an idea of how slowly I was drawing in real time, given that these are at like 5 times speed and it's still, some of these are still very slow. But yeah, these lines I think are also a really good example of how much more confident all the previous pages have made me in handling that brush. Growth. I don't think these snails would have come out as well if I had drawn them towards the beginning of the sketchbook instead. Kind of unbelievable that practice does in fact make you better, and that the only way to make good art is to make worse art first. Unbelievable.
Okay, I just finished these guys, and you can see he's still a little wet. And I have, as suspected, come to the point where this guy is actually empty. Like, I don't know. I've done this before. Why am I holding it up to the camera? You can't tell from the video. But it's empty now, which is crazy. Over a decade of service, and finally, this bitch is empty. I still have about, I think, wait, let me count. Let's just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 spreads left. So, indeed, it didn't quite last the entire time, but it did pretty well. It did in fact take like 70 spreads of ink drawings to finish this guy, which I'm excited about. Actually, I don't remember quite when I checked in last. I've been doing some pine martens and stoats because they are very cute. I love little furry noodles. Very cute. Don't look at him. He looks like a bear instead of a marten. That's fine. It's fine. It takes a while to settle into. So before that, I did some mushrooms and left behind some fingerprint evidence. I was doing mushrooms, and they were fun. I only did 2 pages of them, because quite frankly, after these 2 pages, I was like, okay, this is boring. I want to do other things. And before that, I did some horses, which I didn't record because I expected it to go really badly. It went better than expected, but I'm not a fan of horses. They're fucking weird. But I did try. And I think before that, I think we already talked about the snails. I feel like we talked about the snails. I did snails. I feel like we definitely talked about the moths before, so. Did I record the snails? I think I recorded the snails. So that's what I've been up to with the last dregs of ink in there. I still can't believe this is empty. But yeah, we're done. So I guess next up is the sepia ink, which I mentioned before, because quite frankly, I do not want to use my nice acrylic ink for this. And this thing I've also had, maybe not for like a decade, but definitely like 7 years, maybe longer. I don't remember when I got this, but I've had this for a long time. So I might as well empty this one out too. It's of course a little sad that it's not going to be uniform in ink color, but it's just something I gotta live with. So this is going to be interesting. I'm not used to using an ink that's this full anymore. I will say, I think I did not. I mean, we'll see when it dries, but right now it does look extremely dark, which is very good. I do prefer when things are very consistent. So I'm very glad if it does turn out that the sepia doesn't look too different from the black ink, but I think while drying it does change a bit. Yeah, okay, yeah. Seeing it dry is like, okay, it's not quite the same, which is, that's fine. It's whatever. There are moments like this where I'm like, okay, it does feel a little cowardly to hide the paws in, the snow, because the picture I'm working off of is the pine marten in on a snowy ground. Like, they hid the feet, and I don't, without reference, I'm not going to make out how that looks. This is the animal equivalent of like hiding a character's hands in their pockets. That's what it's like. So I am sorry about that. And it does, and I look at it and I feel like maybe I should, do it properly. But then it's like, well, I don't know what it looks like because they're hiding it. This is not actually on me. The Nefarious pine marten is hiding his feet in the snow. It's not on me. Oh, they're so cute. I could look at images of pine martens all day. Well, maybe not all day. That's a very long time. But for a long time, like hours. I could go hours looking at pine martens. They're so fucking cute. I just love a little guy, and they're so fucking little guys. I love them. I can't believe they make them. Nature. I can't believe they're producing pine martens just for my enjoyment. It's crazy. We all. More snow. They love taking images of pine martens in the snow. So I can't prove that actually I do draw the paws when they're on the photo. Yeah, no, I need to fix that face. Holy shit. That's not good. This is why I don't talk while drawing. It's just, I'm bad at it. I am just not good at it. I have tremendous respect for people who can like hold a full conversation while drawing. That's very impressive to me because again, I'm too busy trying not to fuck up very badly. Is that better? A little bit? Maybe. Sure, let's leave it like that. It's whatever. It's fine. It's fine. It's whatever. It's fine. Honestly, that is my mantra for most of the time while drawing with ink. I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Leave it. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Then it looks like shit. Honestly, I might have to fix his face again. Okay, who cares? We're not talking about that right now. It's not important. We're focusing on other things. Okay, we are done with our Nefarious Pine Martens. I could do more, but honestly, I have gotten a little bored, and I feel like I've done most of the poses on like the photos that come up on on an easy search. So, and I also don't have that many pages left. It's like I think 6 or 7, and I told myself that I could not do this without drawing my favorite animal, the humble snow leopard. So, this is what we're gonna do for the last stretch. Gonna finish up this thing with snow leopards. I put them off for a while because, quite frankly, I have tried it before in the other sketchbooks and I did not like at all how it turned out. So I was very scared of messing those up. And now that I feel like I'm at least somewhat, practiced a little bit, and, I'm more confident with failing, at least on my first few tries, I thought we might try again and hopefully get, a better result. I was already very happy with how the tigers turned out, and I think snow leopards might be very similar in the sense that the pattern does a lot for the recognizability of it. So we'll see. I'm gonna try my best.
And try my best, I did. I started with a close-up of the head because I tried that for the wolves at the very beginning of the sketchbook when I couldn't really figure out how to get them to look correct after the first few attempts. It was very helpful back then. It's such a long time ago by now, so it seemed appropriate to use that technique again since I was not confident at all in getting a snow leopard right on the first try. And it was the right choice. That first one went really well, so I was happy, but then, once again beset by hubris, I got too confident, and the next one didn't go nearly as smoothly, and I had to break out a trusty post-it note to fix his face once again. I love post-it notes, they're so useful. I also, to my great disappointment, discovered that the spots of a snow leopard do a lot for making it look like a, real snow leopard, but they don't nearly help as much with perspective as tiger stripes do. So a lot of these ended up looking kind of wonky and weird still. The more you know, I suppose, but I'm still a little sad about it because these are my favorite little guys. I love snow leopards so much. I wish I could draw them better. But oh well, I guess that just means there's more to learn for me in the future, and I will just have to keep drawing them a lot more to get good eventually. I mean, given that that also means looking at a lot of reference images of snow leopards, I don't think I can be too upset about that.
Okay, the the light situation right now is not ideal. However, I am excited to share that this is actually the last page. We did it. We did it. It only took forever. But yeah, I have done some more kitty cats. Look at them. I love snow leopards. They're very cute. There's more on the previous pages, but I'm not gonna flip through them right now. But yeah, I am debating with myself whether I want to draw on this because, objectively speaking, this is like these sketchbooks, the art creation ones, don't have a special end paper, so this is the exact same paper as the rest. So technically, I could totally draw on this if I wanted to, and I'm debating about it. We'll see. But the light is terrible for filming today.
we're not gonna see that. But yeah, we're almost done. Look at that. Isn't that exciting? I mean, it's exciting for me. I don't know about you. But yeah, look at that. 80 pages. Woo! Okay, look at that. I decided to actually do the last page because, like, why not, right? Might as well use the paper. And I did one little kitty cat, little guy, and we're done. It's all full now. I'm so happy. Like, this was like, I knew it was like a doable project, but it still felt crazy that I'm finally done. And it only took me technically 2 years, but really more like a month. But yeah, I mean, look where we started 2 years ago. Well, almost 2 years ago. And now we finished with kitty cats in 2025. And here we are at the end of this video as well. Here's a few close-ups of all my Snow Leopard pages that I didn't show off earlier because the lighting was bad. If you made it all the way through the video, thank you for taking the time to watch this. I will still have to do a flip through of the whole sketchbook, but that'll be a separate video because this one really is way too long already. Again, I really appreciate if you made it all the way to the end. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you around.